And let me try to get into one more thing, even though it might not be in resonance for this here and now. But as we understand by now, our friend Bashar has shared that disclosure is also part of things coming from the government or instances of the governments or secret governments or whatever it is. So the idea is that since Roswell or before, that we have been studying ETs, reversed engineered craft, and been in contact for a long time with extraterrestrials, and that will now, this year, will be released. So my question here would be, are the YahYel that you can perceive, that you are a part of, these country YahYels you have stated that you have a connection with, are they part of this? Will they be revealed? Can you speak on that also in that type of disclosure? Or this end, are the YahYel more involved in creating contact with individual groups that have nothing to do with the government disclosure? Is this something you can comment on? Or
More
is
the
it this end
latter.
that
We are involved with interacting with individuals individually, and sometimes a group of individuals that have a connection. So the idea, the governmental interaction is not a part of my YahYel's interactions with your political governmental institution. So yes, it happens internally, organically, through individuals' heart wisdom, in a sense, is how the YahYel that I am with interact with Earth humans in terms of what Earth humans begin to understand, and in that sense are disclosure, disclosure, in a sense, just a sense of reawakening, remembering is what I am in the YahYel in my civilization are facilitating the remembering, the reawakening to your connection to us. And then after you reawaken to your connection to the remembering of what that was like and how wonderful that is, how that felt. For there are, you could say, experiences on other planets that you are having, even as I speak, that are with the YahYel, that you are in, that is a part of you in a sense. So as Earth humans begin to let down this idea that what they're experiencing now is the only version of them, the only version of them that they can matters, I'll share with you that in each moment, your awareness has the awareness of more than just this Earth human you. There's at least one other, you could say, an extraterrestrial version of you's consciousness that you have flowing through your awareness. And some might call that a spirit guide or guardian angel. So there is then the idea of through that connection, also through that connection, the disclosure occurs through the YahYel that I am with, working through that way. And it's not so much disclosure again as it is awakening, activating. The activation allows for the awakening, like a reawakening, because you've had these experiences on these other dimensionalities simultaneous to this current one. And then the remembering what those experiences are, were in the past, and are in the present, and some future as well. So it is all very deeply, deeply that it unfolds from this idea of disclosure, the activating the connections that you have, the awareness, the understanding that then you begin to awaken and reawaken, and are then, you could say, remembering, remembering to other members of your family, members of your family you're reconnecting to, remembering, reconnecting to members of your family, remembering the memories you've had with other members of your beingness, remembering after the activation and the awakening and reawakening. And you could call that disclosure. Yes. Does that answer the question?
Yes, that totally answers the question. And for me, that was something that I was curious about, because the way I perceive the YahYel and Marcus version of the YahYel, I also suspected that the vibrations don't match from those two versions of interacting with ETs, and that the YahYel would not really be part, as at least those YahYel that are being known through Marcus and the YahYel through Aishwa, that they would be so vibrationally different than to have it come through that type of disclosure, if that makes sense. So it was,
Yes, and
yeah.
understand just as you have variety of individuals in your world with different ideas, some of them come forward with ideas that are, you could say, hidden. They present themselves to have one idea they're presenting, but they actually have a different idea. You could call a hidden intent. So there are perhaps some of those in your world who say they are bringing forth information from this civilization or that civilization, and they may intentionally be trying to pull the wool over your eyes, so to speak, to create disinformation, you could say, to get you off the path, in a sense. So there are those in your world who do that intentionally, and there are some who don't know they're doing that. They don't realize they're part of a misinformation consciousness. And that happens in your world. But as more of you connect to your heart, then your heart, wisdom, and intelligence will inform you when those kinds of things are happening. You could even say scams, something like a scam. So that happens. And some people claim to be bringing forth YahYel information or information from Arcturian or Pleiadian, and they're just making it up. Or they're being misinformed and they are with best intent bringing it forth, not realizing it's not actually coming from a different source. So, as with all things in all times, it's important to stay and connect with your heart wisdom, your heart intelligence, and not just listen to what other things are being said, especially thrown about in media, on television, on the internet, in newsprint, and so on and so forth. For those are sources often that can be misinformation, whether intentionally or unintentionally. They can be misguided and misguiding, whether intentionally or unintentionally. So those then are often sources of those types of disconnected ideas, and some of them can be very popular and spoken of with great popularity, distributed across many channels of your media, online and televised, politicized, religiousized, but they can be quite misinforming. Important it is, important it be, to be in tune more with your inner knowledge, your inner heart's wisdom. That then will prevent you from being misguided in these ways. You won't fall for the scam, so to speak. Do you understand that?
Yes, Aisha, thank you so much, because I think the answer you gave, from my human perspective as Simon, is very deep and something to really ponder about and really take serious, and really have that courage to dive deep in oneself, to really get connected better to things like intuition, or like you call it also the heart energy center, because there I think we can always find the truth. And it's not so much about truth or misinformation maybe, but we can find that heartfelt resonance field that we can identify more and more as being truthful, joyful, or more like maybe densifying. So now everything that is filtered through our heart and gives resonance, and we immediately feel positive or expansive, that we can use that as a navigation in the upcoming times to discern for us where we want to go. And so I think your answer was really, really great to point out again, to not get maybe caught up so much by sensation, but really dive deep and be authentic to what really resonates with the heart and go along those lines. So thank you so much for that answer.